Hi back to the stream, to the journey to 2500. Let's jump right in. Last time I gained a couple of rating points, nothing too crazy. And we are starting off in the first game with the white pieces, e4. We see the perk defense. What am I gonna choose to play against it? I think I'll try knight c3 first and see where are we going to end up. And then like, okay, d4. Yeah, g3, bishop g7, of course, but yeah, I shouldn't really spend too much time here. I think I'm not really gonna complicate things too much. I'll just get a solid development and castle short. Because when you do this, you always have a good position as white from the opening. And yeah, that's quite a thing. Yes, there are of course lines where you just, create a battery, cast long, go h4, h5, and so on, but those lines are also dangerous for white because you see c6, b5 very often. e5, you usually do want to close the center and then attack. But here I honestly think I'll just castle. Because the position is just good. There's nothing wrong with that. Yes, maybe there is a line. There are lines where you put a bit more pressure on black, but still, I'm enjoying nice butter position. So, okay. a6 to prevent jumps, or maybe to push b5. I think I'll claim space with a4. Also a typical idea. You can do that. Just claim space on the queen side. Push the flank pawn as AlphaZero taught us in 2018. How am I gonna go about the tension in the center? I think, yeah, I think I'll just leave the tension. I can always go d5 and it's not gonna be bad. Like, it is a good thing to do. You claim space. Okay, so black takes, fine, so of course gonna take with the knight. Automatic reaction. Okay, rook e8, putting pressure on the pawn, actually directly hitting it. I could take and go bishop f3. How about that? Then d5 comes in, even stronger. Well, yeah, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Worst thing that should happen here or in near future is that, yeah, black just equalizes. That's it. I'm not gonna be worse anytime soon. So that's like also fine. There's not too much wrong with it. There is an idea of e5, but rook can take, so not now. b2 pawn is hanging. Okay, I think I'll just sadly defend with rook b1. It's not a happy move, but sometimes you have to play these moves anyway. The problem with, yeah, with b3 was this diagonal. Now b3 is not as bad. There is one last piece on that diagonal, so only dealing with the knight could be fine, but with the knight and the rook on the diagonal, I think it would be bad. c5, claiming d4 under control, but leaving d5 up for grabs. But first I'll just go rook e1. Oh, this way. Doing things this way. I can pin. What if I move with the bishop? Yeah, okay, I'll go bishop g5. It is now defended thrice as it is attacked. But the knight is pinned for the time being, but yeah, h6 can come if I go bishop h4, but yeah, okay. The knight is not gonna be pinned, but... And then g4, likely not. Yeah, I think I'll go all the way back. It's fine. And then knight d5 looks very nice. The blocked bishop. b2 may be a small problem. But nah, tactics work out as of right now after knight d5. Let's see what changes after the next move that black makes. Yeah, knight d5, big idea. If I get it, I should be better. If I do not like this idea with c5, I'm not entirely sure if it's good. Okay, this maneuver, getting the knight e5 to hit the bishop, is quite nice. But the king side is pretty weak. I'll have to take the knight though. I'll have to. Let's go queen d3. Would that be good? Yeah, it could be fine. Perhaps queen d3. I still want to get knight d5. I'm not sure about this, because then b2 is under fire. Yeah, I have to give up my bishop. I know about that. Yeah, like maybe not queen d3 and then like move the bishop. I don't know, h5 could keep the bishop there, but yeah. Even though I definitely prefer bishop pair, yeah, sometimes giving it up is just the way to go. And I felt that this was one of those moments. The bishop is pretty strong, but I could make my knight pretty strong. Might be able to actually sack. Wait a second. Yeah, I think I'll go for knight d5 immediately. Because now the situation has changed a bit. Because now we got opposite colored bishops. And so I'm looking at king safety. If I just do this, there will be quite a threat, although it is true that the bishop controls the diagonal. It really does. So what do I do? Oh yeah, I think I go in. You just gotta go in. And either bishop e4 or Bishop h5. Okay, I got every capture. But now black's got one move, and that one move will be a saving move, something like queen f6, probably. But the idea is the pawn that black has gained is this c7 pawn, which doesn't seem to go anywhere. If I get c4, this is just locked down, you know. It is the double c pawn, so it's not a bad, really bad pawn to be down. Also opposite card bishop, so drawing the game would not have to be that difficult. Imagine queen f6. If I go into those trades, and then how weak would be my king? Could I go in somehow? Check g3. Oh, bishop d4 actually was played. Bishop to d4. So what if I go bishop e4 now? What if? No, this absolutely cannot be bad. But queen f6 anyway, likely, because yeah, there is a check and then I don't have anything else to do. But you have to defend on h6. That is the threat. Yeah, but queen f6, so we are just getting an endgame. We are. If I take and then f3. Yeah, I think I'll go for it. Because then I have the b file. I can infiltrate. Black cannot. And the only way to get rid of the bishop is to execute f5, which is really hard to do. You'd have to get your rook to e5 or f8. But I always have g4 to stop it. So yeah, this file is just really closed. So that means that I can just go after the pawns with my rook. Yeah, I think so. I could attack maybe like this. Nah, well, let's go to b7. That should be a better square. Yeah, okay, just king f1. I'm good. Okay. So actually this got me a little bit. Not gonna lie. Oh, this may got me quite a bit, actually. Okay, let's go g4 so I can cross with my king. But still, the rook cannot get active. Or can it? Is there a chance? Oh, wow. There might be c6. Because if I take, then there is d5. Okay. My opponent didn't go for that. I don't have to calculate that line. But c6 may be actually losing for me. I don't know. Okay, but now I'm just going up there. But maybe I'm too slow. Because it is true that the rook is quite trapped there. Although if the king comes there, I do have this check that would draw if I would be too slow to get my king to say c6 to defend. Oh, so the king actually goes in. So that's the strategy. That is the strategy. Oh wow, my rook is actually really just trapped. It ain't so great. The king will hunt down the h3 pawn. But I think that I'll go in with my king too. That's just what I'll do. It is really just so complicated though. But I'm really thinking about giving up the rook for the bishop and doing d6, because then d5 pawn could be really, really strong, especially with the king behind. I actually believe that the sack, if for example king c3, I do think that the sack might be working. But then there is b5. I still have a bishop though. And d5 pawn is really strong. But yeah, really complicated endgame. We are both under 2 minutes right now. And yeah, a lot to consider. This is kind of a gamble. Like 3 result game. Very easy to go wrong. And I think I'll go for it. There is not much else to do. And yeah, I really don't know. Like this could be winning for me. It could be losing. It could be a draw. All 3 results possible. Also, maybe capturing b6 and a5 was better. Because yeah, now that pawn is also really fast. Oh, it probably... Okay. Okay, I don't care. I'll just push. If there is a doubled a pawn, it should not matter too much. I do have this move. It might matter though. We'll see. Oh, I guess there is nothing better to do. Well, yeah, I'll be way too slow, and it will matter. Oh wow, way too sad. I do have 3 pawns, but this should not be that hard. For black to win, I believe. We'll see. I'll try. I'll try to push them, but... Maybe actually, hold on. Hold on. Maybe it is a draw. Maybe I can get a draw. 14 seconds though. Maybe I can win this now. Oh wow. This will be a draw or I win on time. No, okay, so it will be a draw. Okay, it is a draw in the end. I think honestly that it was even winning. Let's take a look, but what a crazy game. A draw, actually a fair result, I have to say. But yeah, here it was a draw, I believe. Okay, so it was a draw all along. Yeah, it was. Well, not all along, like, I mean, although, let's take a look. Yeah, it was obvious winning. Where did it turn? Somewhere around here. Okay, but also, let's take a look at this position. Yeah. So, okay, even though rook takes b6 also is better, but just a much easier thing than this, because then you have to deal with this breakthrough, is to take on c7. And then, yeah, you still take on d6, and then, yeah, then you don't have to deal with that. So that would have been completely winning. Anyway, yeah. This was definitely better. But okay, missed it. Next game, again, white pieces. c5. Let's try the Snyder. Let's try Snyder Sicilian. e5. Interesting. Interesting. So d5 ain't really coming. Can either give up the bishop. Yeah, actually I'll go bishop b5. Yeah, knight goes there, so let's get rid of the bishop, which is yeah, quite good in this line. Actually, it is. And now pawn d3. And the reason being, simply you put all of these pawns on the light square. So yeah, then the bishop would be really bad on e2, say. Queen g5, very interesting attempt. Can I go queen f3? Should be able to, but yeah, perhaps knight d2 instead of d3 was better, because now I wouldn't have to deal with this. I could just castle, and bishop h3 is not scary. I would have knight g3. Like, yeah, maybe some pawn pushes, if you can imagine what I'm thinking about. But anyway, yeah, d3 played, queen f3 just defends. I wanted to go knight d2 anyways. But still, I would have to be careful, because there are bishop g4 ideas. So maybe h3. Oh, f5. That's interesting. And very brave. Because there is a pawn on c6. But I do understand that it will likely be defended, and then the pawn will fall anyways. Or I could go g4. Maybe I can do it. Okay, actually, let's try. Going g4 and then h4 to kick the queen. And I don't know what I'll do with my king, but maybe I can cast long, maybe I can still cast a short. And maybe I can just leave it in the center. Okay, but yeah, maybe h5 is actually good enough. Because if this queen takes, and okay, it was not, a good way of playing this, apparently. Yeah, none of the lines work out. None of them really work out. So yeah, okay. H5 is very strong, I have to say. So no, so I gotta take. Yeah, I think I gotta take. But no, it is a complete mess, and I think I'm worse. I should be. I think. But d5 cannot be played. c6 is still weak. I mean, yeah, still just a mess on the board. Okay, rook takes makes a lot of sense. This pawn will fall too. I'm already counting with that. I'll go knight d2 and try to get the knight either to c4 or e4 to hit d6. Both have pros and cons. On e4 it hits the queen, which is good. Okay, it no longer does. No longer does. I think that on c4 it's actually better. I really believe so. I don't have to take. So yeah, let's go knight c4. Hit the pawn. If the knight moves to defend with the bishop, c6 is hanging. And if d5, I take on e5. So that was my thought process behind it. But perhaps you can just take. It will develop my knight, but perhaps you can do that. Okay, so this, okay. Knight d5 blocks the queen. Think now. Okay, let's castle. Let's castle. Yeah, I'm worse though. I'm very likely worse here. Because yeah, the pawns on the king side are just bad. That is the main reason. And then okay. Also wait a second. Oh my gosh, there is absolutely no way that I'm just losing a knight. Oh wow. Oh wow. Maybe there is a bailout. Is there? Is there a big bailout? Because yeah, I cannot defend the knight. There is only knight d2. Rook f5. And I cannot defend the knight, so knight h4 to hit the rook. There is a pawn falling, dropping. But if you go back with the rook, then in theory you can go back with the knight. It's ugly, but maybe. Like yeah, this, and now if I don't want to give up the exchange or the knight, I have to go knight h4 and hope that this is a bailout. So yeah, rook takes. But if it is just a pawn, it might be somewhat fine. So, okay, now I have to move the rook, obviously. I could hit the bishop, but yeah, I think it's better to play rook f1. So seems like, yeah, I dropped a pawn, but it's still playable. But yeah, you see, I said that I'm worse because of those pawns, and it was true because of those pawns, the knight was weak. Now this knight is absolutely amazing there. Is this check bad for me? No, it's fine, I think. The knight is really strong. So okay, I'll get the knight back to c4. That is a good square. Definitely. Then king d2 is my idea, and then maybe d4. If you take, I would get that knight. But first of all, I have to deal with the other knight on the edge of the board. Okay, knight back to f3, nothing else to really do. Oh, wow. Ain't no way my opponent blundered. So I can take there twice and win the bishop. That is a huge gift. That is a very huge gift. Thank you very much. I'll gain the pawn back. These 2 pawns will be terrible. My bishop will get the game. The knight will no longer be solidified on f4. So it's not just that I'll be now up a pawn, but the whole position is scrambling now. I can even choose which piece do I want to take. I think it should be the bishop. It should be the bishop. But maybe you wanna take the knight. Okay, let's just take the bishop. I also need to play faster. So need to play faster. Okay, king d2. I wanted to play that move quite some time ago already. And yeah, now all the black pawns are just bad. All of them. So yeah, let's just get back to c4. Okay, maybe first actually let's get rid of the king side pawns, because you usually do not want to trade pawns when you're up, because yeah, when there are less pawns, more chances for a draw. This was smart, I think. Okay. Oh, have I? Oh. Oh. So I've blundered it away. Oh. So I'll go down the exchange. I'll have those pawns, but I'll go down the exchange. And the better way to do it should be this. If I defend, it's even worse, but oh man, I screwed so hard with that move. Yeah, I should have just gone knight c4. Follow the plan. I really was not expecting this. Knight d5, and still might be a draw because, yeah, bishop against the rook. I have my pawns intact. And these pawns are really bad, but yeah, well, what should have been a win now is a fight for a draw. I believe I can win this now. Would that be losing? Would that be a losing endgame? I hope not. I really hope not. I really hope that this is a draw. It should be. It's equal pawns. I got slightly more passive king. So, okay, now I'm gonna take with the bishop, of course. So I got this nice thing. Let's go king d3 and I'm down to 1 minute. If I get king c4, c3, and then like a4, I should be doing good, I believe. Oh, and he cannot go there. He cannot go there. That's huge. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. This game had so many swings, but this is definitely the last one. Yeah, it is. It was too big of a swing. But like, guys, so many blunders here. Here, instead of d3, perhaps knight e2 is more precise in the opening. No, so actually d3, yeah, it is about equal. But then how about this queen g5 idea? Yeah, queen f3 fine, and then f5. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, that might make sense. Although, like, yeah, you h4 first, yeah, you definitely do not like. This was bad. And then this bailout to only be down a pawn. And then, yeah, this was their first blunder. Because otherwise, you see, it's absolutely winning. But then the first blunder of my opponent, and then over here with that h4 move, here I am absolutely winning if I go knight c4. However, after h4, it is still fine. It is still fine, but you don't take on g5. Yeah, so yeah, you see it is a draw. It is a draw. Yeah, rook g1 has to be played, because if you just defend, rook e8 is gonna come, and you will drop a whole piece. And then this is a draw. Yeah, and here, yeah, that's what I thought. The best is likely to take, and this endgame should be a draw. But this position, yeah, still a draw, but definitely more life to it. And yeah, then this final blunder. Okay, let's continue. Hopefully the stream is not lagging now, or at least not as much as the previous one. And it may be because of the layout I chose. And we got another game, and I got white pieces once more. So e4, hopefully I don't lose. And Vienna, maybe. And then bishop to c4. And c6, not capturing on e4. Okay, that's fine, just pawn d3. Now you can go bishop e3, you can go f4. So let's be aggressive, tactical, and go pawn to f4. Yeah, so now there is a crazy line, I believe. But black plays a6 instead, making room for bishop. So in that case, did I go f5? Yeah, okay, well, let's go f5. And now I would like to figure out castling. That would be very nice. Already can see a small problem perhaps with bishop e3, but I think I'll be fine with that. Okay, I'll go back, and I don't wanna castle queen side, I just wanna castle king side. Actually. So let's get bishop e3 in so I can castle short. Okay, d5 makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. Although there is now e5 hanging. Can I go knight e2? I believe I can. I believe I can. So now I have to go knight g3 to defend the pawn. And then I would finally want to castle. Or also maybe rook d1. And yes, there is a pawn on e5 that is still hanging. But yeah, I want to castle first. Because if you take, then you feel like there is too much stuff on the e-file for the rook to just attack. h6, I don't really think that's that important, honestly. So I'll just castle. Should be perfectly fine to do. That can also bring the rook to d or e file. Queen e2. Yeah, just queen e2 makes the most sense. So yeah, okay. d4 played instead, which is actually... Oh, my opponent's going for e3. I see now. I see now. But anyway, like, am I real scared of that? Oh, no, not rook f2, not rook f2. Okay, let's go h3, rook f2, and then I'm hitting the pawn, and if say f6 or whatever, I'll just go knight f1 to get rid of this knight. That should be working just fine. And then I'm really quite enjoying the blocked center, because not only that I have an attack on the king side, very likely, it also is just a position where black has a bishop, and he chose to close the position when he's got a bishop and I don't have a bishop. So, you know, in closed positions, knights are usually better. So I like that thing too. The knight is very nice on e3. On the other hand, it cannot get out. So maybe c3. Maybe c3 and something like that could be a thing. But nah, I think it's better to just get rid of the knight this way and enjoy the position that I have. I think, yeah, there, if you don't want to drop a pawn, you have to take, so you can take with this rook too. That could be interesting, because yeah, having a rook on the a file is good, but so is having a rook on the f file. And I can always go back. So then it means, is it better to have rook there or rook there? Sacrifice? Okay, I mean, I'll accept, sure, and then e4, it must have been the idea. But what if I just move? What if I just move, say, to h2? Okay, e3, I see. So the rook is being hit. But I have this move, and my opponent is offering a draw, but I'm not gonna take it. Like, I believe that I'm winning here. I mean, my opponent is telling me that they gotta go, but like, I think that this position is better for me, so I don't want to draw. So hopefully we aren't gonna wait here for 6 minutes because of me not wanting a draw in just a winning position, I believe. Because yeah, like the sacrifice was not necessary, definitely not. And now, like, yeah, I don't believe that the e3 pawn is enough. I mean, like, yeah, I believe that this is just winning. Like, I don't think that the sacrifice is is valid. Oh my gosh, really, really. So we're gonna wait here. Perhaps, or will we? Okay. Okay, and now let's see the eval to validate me. If it says it's yeah, it is better. So yeah, I was right. And if not for that knight f5 that happened, yeah, even knight f1, I take with this work as I wanted to, and the position is just nice. Like it's not winning, but it is definitely better, and I have very nice chances. Okay, nice game, nice Vienna game. And by the way, hello in the chat. So that is very nice to see. We got black pieces for the first time here. For the first time today. And it is against Ruy Lopez exchanged, really. Okay. I actually don't really enjoy playing this variation. I do not. But what are you gonna do? Let's go knight f6. Yeah, yeah, like thank you, and that I should stream more. I try, I really try, but I'm struggling to find free time now for streaming. Bishop d6 or e7. On e7 it should be generally better, but then d6. Maybe c5. Okay, let's try c5 first to block d4, because yeah, I'm a high school student and I study computer science, so yeah, it ain't really easy. Let's go b5, maybe a4, but facing a4, I think it's okay. I'm just not gonna take, and if I have to take on a8 with the queen, it's fine. Bishop d6 or e7, like still. Oh wow, so h3 was played. Okay. It scared me off a little bit for some reason. But anyway, so I have to take, right? Actually. Yeah, it seems like that I got myself in the situation where I have to take. And then likely bishop d6 to defend. I had to give up the bishop here back. So yeah, playing against this, the exchange through low pass is quite annoying, I must say, because well, white just gets a small edge, small strategic edge. There's not so much you can really do. Maybe h6. I'm calculating if this is an issue. It might be. Well, let's go h6. I don't think that sacrifices here are possible, but maybe. It always playing such moves. You have to be careful. b3, maybe preparing c4, but I don't know. Let's go c6 now. B3 is strange move, I must say. Okay, A4. This is fine with me, so I'll go Queen C7. So yeah, going for those sacks maybe. We'll see. I can go King H7, I think, and it should be fine. Okay, there is now this knight maneuver, so I have to move my rook and then go bishop f8, and I should be fine. Very typical idea, but you can see that I'm just defending. Okay, g4 to solidify the knight, but also prepare g5, which I really don't want to face. So can I afford to face it? Perhaps I can. Maybe I can even move the knight like this, maybe to b6, I don't know. It is scary to have this bishop as the only defensive piece. Okay, rook is coming. I'll try to maneuver around to maybe trade the knight. Okay, capturing. So how am I gonna take? Can I take like this, right? Because if I take like this, then the pawn on a6 is weak. Now the pawn on c5 is also weak, or the pawn on c6, but yeah, I just thought this would be better. But anyway. Difficult position. But it has all of the pawns on light squares. So I think to know this. So now the pawn is under heavy attack, so I have to go back, I believe. Yeah. Now I wonder if Queen H4. Queen H4 could be dangerous. Yeah, capturing the rook and now Queen H4, so I do not have Queen D8 or B4. Wow. B4. But actually it is still fine, isn't it? I mean, Queen H4 might be bad. Queen H4 and then G5. That's the thing. Oh no, I should have probably. I think I can take with the bishop now. Nah? Can't I? Of course I can. So we're gonna trade a piece. Maybe even more. We'll see. Because I think I wouldn't mind the endgame. Maybe I take with the knight and do something like that. Maybe actually I'm not in such a big of a danger. And the endgame, the only problem with the endgame that I had was that white would get the a file first. And that's why I decided against it ultimately. And went for this because, yeah, to be honest, getting the knight to e6 and then there seems pretty nice. And also I have g6, so I can kick the knight away. For the time being, if the h6 pawn is not attacked by the queen. In that case, I cannot. Of course, but yeah, my knight on f4 would be invincible. So well, let's go for it. Also, c3 is really weak. I'm controlling the h-file. I feel like the position is turning around now. Position seems to be turning around. Queen b6, I don't think it's good. I should get queen c3, defend, and attack. You cannot really break through, so yeah, you do have queen h4. That's a thing that you have. You do. I'm defending g5 right now, so that is very nice. I'll go here, hit the pawn and threaten a check. That would defend h6, okay. Defending it this way. But how about just a simple check though? How about just a simple check here? There are a lot of options now, and I'm struggling to choose which one is the best, but they're all good, I'm sure. Let's do this. I like this thing a lot. If I get rook a8, rook a1, it should be game over. And I also have knight f4. Knight f4 is still in the position. King h2 would be forced. And then like you can go knight g6. But I'm not so sure what would I gain from it. Like yeah, I would gain the fact that the queen is not so active, possibly, because the issue with rook a8 is queen e7 hits f7. Queen h5 impossible. That would be a fork, which is nice, so no way to attack f7 now. Maybe, okay, knight d6, but it would not be with the queen. So that is important, because if you take there with the knight, it should not bother me as much. Oh. Queen g3 hits the pawn. Hits a pawn. So if I go there, it takes, and there is a checkmate threat. It's okay, I'll just give that check. Not really mess around. And now, okay, let's just claim this. And I think that queen g1 may be the only way. After queen g1, I might just go somewhere back. Oh, but this is not a way to go. First of all, it drops the exchange. And yeah, I really just should go for it. I just should go for the exchange like this, and then And then I definitely should not think for this long. I can tell you that. Okay, let's go g6. I think queen c3 to defend all of the pawns. Maybe king g7. Yeah, queen c3. Rook a2. Attack c2. And win the game. That should be the plan here. Hopefully I can execute it. At 2250 rating, I should manage to do so, but you never know. Although I believe I'm strong enough to win this. Where is the knight going? I don't know. I just go back and defend all those pawns. And then attack on c2, which cannot be defended. The knight actually, I don't know what it's doing over there, because it is kind of getting trapped. I might even win this somehow, you know, but let's not think about it too much. I had a plan of taking on c2, so let's go for it. And now perhaps trading queens should be the easiest way to win this game. I have a passed b pawn. Let's defend. The knight can only go back to b7 now. So sad, honestly. And I'll just push the b pawn for the victory. And next move, I just promote and win the game. Or my opponent resigns. That was the other option. But yeah, let's go back. I actually outplayed my opponent quite nicely around here. Around here, actually. Or perhaps my opponent outplayed himself, kinda. But anyway, right around here. Nah, so it is all lost. Actually, rook g2 apparently the best move. But I thought queen g1. And yeah, when I go back, and I cannot believe that it is this much winning. So yeah, like say queen c3, it's not the best move, but that's what I was thinking. And like, it is equal material. We both have knights here. And it is this much winning. That's absolutely amazing. Yeah, okay, so I get it. Because you get rook a1 now, but if this you take... Okay. But apparently the best is to take... And then, okay, you got a fork anyway. Missed a simple tactic there, but... Okay, moving on to the next game. So far, so good today. Well, let's hope that things continue to go well. Found another game. This time again. Oh, I guess that it was yeah, I was just surprised about e3, and I guess that it was a mouse slip. So my opponent aborted the game. Very funny situation, to be honest. So anyway, we found the next game very quickly. Once again. Okay. This is impossible with white pieces now. c6. So let's play the accelerated plan of attack. And then, okay, so here you should go d4. Let's see if, okay, bishop g4 is played. And I do believe that I know this line. Yeah, e6, you take here. Do you take there? Yes, yeah, you do. You do, and now you give a check here. And then... you take like this. Yeah, king e7. Now you take. And this, and you just get this endgame, which is equalish, to be honest. And here I believe you can develop a bishop. Let's go bishop f4, and I do not want a castle. I'll leave my king in the center. Yeah, king d2 and maybe put the king on d3. King f5, would that be too brave? But yeah, we end up in this endgame, which, as I said, equalish. If both players know the line, even though I think that I played a suboptimal move perhaps there, but I do think that the resulting endgame is the same though. I'll have to take a look. What is the difference between two moves in that line? But anyway, it is equalish, but there is still quite some life, even though it doesn't feel like there is. But if you just look at the pawns, like I got bad pawns on the king side. There is a passed pawn in the middle, but it is isolated, and I'm blockading it with the king. But it is a passed pawn, and there is a 2-against-1 advantage on the queen side. So still 3-result game. Of course, best files for the rooks should be these two. You have to be careful. Yeah, I have to be careful about this. So that's why I think that king on d3 will be very nice. Also, perhaps just a3 b4. Start rolling those pawns, which is anyway my plan. My plan is to centralize my rooks, blockade this pawn or play against that pawn, and then start rolling those 2 pawns. Well, let's go here maybe and provoke d4. If bishop takes, I take with the pawn, and I'm pretty happy. It is still very much drawish, but yeah, I would make from doubled, isolated doubled half pawn. Nice 2 pawns. So I'll be very happy. If not, you gotta move. If check, I just go to d3. If you move to b6, I just develop. And yeah, if d4, I go back. It's okay. We trade. I improve my pawn structure. So now the only file that is open is the C file. Opponent's targeting the b3 pawn, or b3 pawn, but now it is b3 pawn. Let's go rook c1. I have to challenge for that open file. Yeah, g6, playing it against my rook g1 move. That would hit that pawn. Also maybe preparing f5 for black. I think I should go forward with the king. Seems good to me. Yeah, king d3 move seems fairly normal. And the thing about the situation with the rooks is that neither of us can really move actually. Because you really do want to control the c-file. You really do. Okay, this a5 move is actually quite annoying to see, I must say. There's not so much I can do about a4, and I'll have to take, I think. Maybe I can go for this though. Like maybe. Okay, maybe I actually can. Maybe I can. Try to double up so my opponent will take. And then claim the c-file. But when I go back, I'm controlling all of the infiltration squares. That was the idea, but I should have done it a move earlier. Because then the king d3 move came to waste. It would be the same position, but the pawn would be on a7, which I think is more advantageous for me, but anyway, so it's too late. And now, yeah, now I cannot go to c-file, but I'm controlling everything, and it is quite likely that something else will open soon. Or, you know, either my opponent will open it up with, yeah, say this move, or well, wait. So am I just gonna go b4? There are no infiltration squares. I can just put my rook behind and be happy. And push. I think. But all of these endgames are obviously very complicated. But it seems like might be doing good. Not for this, maybe. Yeah, this seems that it might be very double-edged now. So what if I just push and my opponent takes? I push not fast enough. So if I push, this will have to be played or something like that. And then that. And the king is just there and is doing fine. I might want to push one square though. Yeah, I think that this is correct. Now you cannot go king d6. Yeah, you have to go king d7, which could be also important. Now it seems like I should defend the pawn like this. If a3, I can go like rook c2. Maybe I cannot. But nah, come on, like I would go there and take. And there's absolutely no way that I'm not faster with those two pawns, right? Like I don't want to believe it. So now I go a3. I don't know, maybe advancing was not right because you'd have the pawns protected. But okay. If I go f4, I like f4 move. I like that. Because I can advance my king up. But yeah, very complicated rook endgame. I bet that according to engine it is still a draw, but for two humans at this level, even like, you know, we are both trying to push, and when it's this complicated, still anything can happen. Trying to get g5, understandable. I can also go for this pawn. That is very interesting. Yeah, very difficult decision, to be honest. Like, really it is. Do you do this? But then if I take, I lose b5. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, how fast would I be with those pawns? Well, let's try king c3, but like, you can definitely overpush. Very easily, you can overpush. And I am ambitious here. I am. I think I should take. Now there is this possibility. Yes, I can, but I still do not really profit from it. No, I think that this pawn is more of a weakness there. It probably is more of a weakness than an advantage. I'm really stuck here. Cannot really move. That is a big issue. No, I feel like I'm playing for a draw now. I'm playing for a draw because I think I'll go down a pawn, actually, to get my pieces more active. I already dropped a pawn. I'll win one pawn back, but I might drop h2 as well. Okay, if rook takes, I get both of these pawns. But then there is rook a2. King would have to go up, so I could defend. So this instead, okay. So, well, I take, obviously, right? What else would I be doing? Now I can defend down, or I can try to go behind. Then I see h5. I cannot defend this pawn. And these two pawns would be rolling really fast. So now I don't want to allow that. Now I got a passed pawn on e3. I cannot quite move there because then g3. So let's get e4. Can I? Yes, I can. I believe. Yes, I can. But it starts to seem more and more like a draw. But yeah, we are both, at the same time, we are both still pushing. The rook is kind of trapped there. I can defend both pawns like this, which is very nice. But if this check, okay, this check actually is something I did not consider as much. And it might be something. Because that, and then rook e3, his the pawn, and I cannot really defend. I win on a4. Oh wow. No, yeah, I have to go after it because I cannot afford to drop a3. Now, if not rook e3, I believe I go rook e2. But if this, I think I gotta take. And it just seems like a draw now. Now it very much seems like a draw. But you should be fast. Should be fast. Okay, let's advance. It honestly should not even matter too much. Because we both got a pawn. That we can push. Okay, let's take. And then... Okay, let's actually just go after the pawn. Cannot do that thing. I can do this thing though. Okay, so after a long fight, we made that draw. After a very long fight, and it was a very interesting Rokan game, I must say. I'm not sure if maybe that b5 was not necessary, actually. Oh, apparently it was the best move. But yeah, rook b2, a3, rook b3, rook takes h2, rook takes a3, and then h5. So yeah, that's still equal, but I would get these 3 pawns against this pawn. I mean, yeah, still dynamic draw. But now, for the line that we played, this is all pretty much forced. But I believe that here, it is queen c6 and not queen takes b5 immediately. Even though queen takes b5 leads to a draw. But if you check, yeah, so the difference is that here queen e7 cannot be played because of the rook, so king e7. And now you what? Now you can even like check on c5. There is knight d6. No, you do not do this. Absolute. Oh, well. Apparently you can, but now it would be a piece sacrifice. Because you take, and I'm down a knight, but I can castle, and apparently this is equal. Okay. But you can also take here. That's what I know. And then like rook c8. Okay, maybe. But what I played... Oh. After king e7 here, I'm actually much better. I just thought that I get that endgame. But queen b7. King e8 has to be played. Now, queen c6 again. King e7. Until like b3. I don't know. I'll study this myself later. Let's play next game. Another e4, e5. What will it be now? The Italian game. Okay, so go for the two knights defense. I would like to see knight g5, and here it comes, actually. Very nice. I like playing this line quite a lot. Yeah, c6 is the main line. But bishop d7, actually, very, very fine to play too. That is very fun. White players usually don't know it that well. So that's another benefit. Yeah, queen e2 is the top move, but he can play other moves too. Now bishop e7 is the line. You can also defend, but bishop e7 is really just better, because if white takes, it is really not that big of an issue. And so here, do you take already? Yeah, I have to remember now. After knight c3, you... What if knight takes, though? I just take there. That should be good enough. Yeah, I think so. Because, yeah, in a lot of lines you take and then you go c6. Then, yeah, then you actually go back, so that you take with the knight. Let b7 fall, and then you jump in and target c2. That is the idea, and you should get a lot of activity here. So knight e4 played instead of capturing on b7. But I'll just castle. Yeah, I'll just ignore this. Now I am threatening knight d4. It would hit the queen and a fork. Still maybe queen a4 to defend. I'm down a pawn here, but it should be undeniable that I have more activity. Although, how much is always the question. Now, okay, so this pawn is hanging. If I move the knight, this pawn is hanging. How many more pawns I can afford to give up? And also, how am I going to attack? Maybe queen d4. Can also take an f5. Let's maybe try that. Like I like playing f5 IDS and pushing with the f pawn together with the e pawn quite a lot in many different openings. So let's try here. It sometimes is not the right plan, but that's how it goes. Oh, okay. Oh, but this drops a piece, right? Doesn't it? Because knight a5 hits the queen, and the queen cannot give a check. Then the knight will fall. It will be for 3 pawns, very likely. But still, piece is a piece, so I take that. Or is it a piece? Or is it? Or is my piece trapped? Okay, I'm thinking about this. C3. That's going to help. No. So is there really nothing? Maybe also use the F file. Target F2 instead. Is there anything along those lines? Doesn't seem like there is. Oh, come on, there must be something. Let's search further. No, okay, so... Okay. There probably isn't, so... Come on, pawns are gonna be down. Really a lot. Really a lot of pawns. Damn. How about this? Does it drop more? Oh well, I'm thinking for so long. I have a feeling that this drops even more pawns because of Queen e5, Knight c6, and then b5. There could be bishop c5. Maybe, but not. Anyway, I'll be down really a lot of pawns. Well, okay, let's go for that end game. Those pawns will be difficult to defend. I'll try. Let's go there. I have to try to be active as much as possible, down 2 pawns currently. But problem is the fact that the pawns are doubled. If this pawn would be on f5, or yeah, ideally like this, you know, but Yeah, if this one would be on f5, then I would feel like I got counterplay for the 2 pawns. Doubled a pawn against my a7 pawn. Not really a big difference. How brave do I want to be? Okay, let's try rook c4 because I do want to try and protect the pawn on e4 for some time. The a4 was played and then this move can be played. That's quite painful, I must say. That is. But let's still try with this, yeah. Can do that. Now I'll target d2. I will have to be concrete and create threats. And that's what I have to do. But it's not easy to defend that pawn. It's not easy. I smell tactics now. I do. I really smell tactics now. But no, it's probably fine. Everything seems to be fine. Let's go bishop f8. Yeah, okay. Let's try bishop f8. Now I am threatening pawn on a4. Bishop back to b2. Okay, I would not guess this move. I would not. Let's go there and blockade. Try to blockade a lot. Try to blockade everything I can. I should probably bring my king out too. I see f3 is the idea here. But perhaps I can just defend with the king. Perhaps I can, or perhaps I just trap my rook somehow and will lose it. But we'll see. We'll see about that. So here I wouldn't mind capturing with the rook now. I think that would be fine. But man, the clock situation too, yeah, I spent a lot of time on that pawn b4 move that was trapping my knight. Rook there. Can I? There is gonna be a huge infiltration like this, right? Likely. Maybe it was possible, because then I saw this. You take, okay. Oh no, okay, so yeah. So yeah, it does end with that rook loss that I was talking about. Yeah, this was all wrong somehow. Yeah, like after this, maybe you can still take, but FE. Oh yeah. Okay, so now. Anyway, so yeah, it was all wrong. But how about here? Yeah, here maybe blah blah, like yeah, rook d3 was not good. Okay, what did I messed up? Maybe that f5 was not right, so yeah. This is good, right? I think that after knight c3, yes, you do take. And queen takes c6. And you do take like this. And yeah, this move is off. But you actually take. You actually take. Why? Knight d4, a6. You really want your opponent to take, and now knight a5 and the queen is trapped. No way. So here I actually took. Oh wow. But here once again a6. A6, yeah. So this f5 idea was wrong. And here the queen can go back there. But imagine a6, so wow. Completely missed this. No, I believe that it must be quite a typical idea in this line. A6. And yeah, the queen just has to go back, and then you're really good. Okay. First loss of today. Not too bad so far. Well, a lot of draws though, but still. I got like 2 or 3 wins. Next game. e4, e5. The Lopez again. d3. Okay. Okay. Let's go b5 anyway. And then just castle. Let's see what my opponent plays. I'm quite curious. Okay, rook e1. That's fine. Fine and fair, I guess. So I cannot really go d5 here. Or can I? Nah. You would want to go there with c3. With c3 played. Let's go h6. And actually, if c3 now, then you can go d5. And that is sort of like Marshall. But no, knight d2 instead. So I gotta settle with d6. Yeah, c3, okay, and it seems to be classical Ruy Lopez kind of stuff. Let's go knight a5 and c5. Let's play this idea. Yeah, the typical maneuver, knight coming to 5, so I probably should also do this shuffle. Get the bishop to f8. Then I need to decide where to put this bishop. I mean, on c8, on its own, the bishop is already pretty good. But maybe on b7 is better, who knows. Okay, I'll go back to c6 with the knight. Yeah, there, okay. I can go bishop f8. Knight is maneuvering like this, preparing f4, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So, that means I should strike in the center with d5. I believe now it is the right time. So let's take. No, I'm not winning a pawn. It would be isolated. Okay, I'll take. And then bishop e7, I believe. Taking with the rook, really. You're going off under the bishop. Also maybe bishop f5. But I mean bishop on b7 just seems way too good. Yeah, I like the bishop on b7. Though I understand that the bishop on c2 could be dangerous too. So I'm playing with that. On f5 the situation would be safer for both of us. This way it is more aggressive and dynamic. Okay, going back with the rook. I'm thinking about maybe queen h4. It would not have to be bad at all. That knight f3, and then no, tactically everything works out fine, so I can do that, I believe. And I'm also threatening to take on f4 now. Although my queen doesn't have a lot of squares there. It is a very nice queen, but it doesn't have a lot of squares. So I have to watch out for that thing. Rook d8 seems really nice. Now the queen doesn't have any square, actually. I'll have to hope that I have time for this. Now I am threatening to go pawn e4 because of the spin. That would be a very nice move. But yeah, queen goes there. Queen goes there. I can go c4 now. I think. If pawn takes, I go e4. Nah, like, okay, it can still be captured, so I'm not gonna make things better that way. Am I? So how am I going to make things work then? I need the e4 push quite a lot. Quite a lot. I might just sack it though. I might just sack the pawn now. Because otherwise I really don't think I can really improve. Like, I am kind of stuck. Although maybe bishop d6. Yeah, okay, maybe bishop d6 first. To get the bishop out. Also, I can go back to b8 maybe, and then get those two diagonals, but okay. My opponent does this, so... Okay, I can push, but... Is that worth it? No. Okay, let's just take them. So the position has simplified a little further. A little more. Is f6 a good idea? I mean, okay, c4 seems nice. The pawn will be strong and weak at the same time. Maybe rook e4 will target the pawn immediately. But then I can defend with the knight this way. That would be very nice. And yeah, I have ways to defend that. Okay, f6, quite a nice move. I think I'll just ignore it for the time being. And then... So give this check. That a good idea should be. Should be. King goes back, and now what? Ah, come on. Why can't I really see through this? Okay, maybe a rook lift. And yeah, I'm like 5 minutes down. But I'm actually very happy with this move. So that is at least something. Knight could come there, but when I get rook f6, actually the king is not so safe there. So maybe now I can f5. Okay, not really immediately. But if I can get, yeah, like my goal is to get e4. If I get e4, I believe my position is pretty good. So that's what I'm trying to do the whole time here, actually. It is the ultimate goal, but I mean, yeah, let's try this. And then something along those lines to trade the bishops. I cannot really do anything better. Okay, take. Then let's go back here. The knight is pinned. for at least one move. So that is important. Okay, let's take that. Oh, and this is, oh. That is so bad. Like, yeah, so that pawn actually is weak, you see. Okay, I'm gonna try to target b2 at least. b2 and a2. Okay, my opponent defended, so now f6, and yeah, I'll lose that pawn. I'm just losing that pawn. But I'll get a nice knight on f4 soon, at least something. We'll try to hold this, but I don't know how likely is it. Okay, hit the rook. Oh wow. Oh wow, no. Yeah, I won on a similar tactic earlier. Now I blundered it. Not nice, not nice. But yeah, you see that even at this level it happens. Like yeah, a couple games ago I won to a similar tactic like this. Now I lost. That's how it goes. Yeah, rook d8 was the best, but still, it is just a pawn. I felt like, yeah, f6 perhaps was a strong move. But here. Yeah, so yeah, the c4 was wrong. It was wrong, but in this position, knight e7's the best. I was thinking about it, like I was thinking about it, but I thought that now drop a pawn here. But you just take... Oh, yeah, I just ended, because it is a rapid game, I ended my calculation in this position, just one move. Just saw that the pawn drops, but if I would calculate just one move ahead, I would notice that knight f5. And the problem is that, yes, if you go back, there is this, so that would be GG. So yeah, if I would have spotted that, yeah, that knight f5 wins in that fashion, I would go for it. Okay, next game is here. I went for the b3 Sicilian. Okay, I went for it again, little accidentally, but at the same time it is fine to play. It is fine to play. I do know some basic ideas. Don't have to know a bunch of theory here. And apparently it took my opponent by surprise. The idea is, okay, once again, we see e5 move. Once again. Now, yeah, I played check. I don't know if it's the best, but I actually just like getting rid of that bishop because then, yeah, if you put it on c4, it is kind of vulnerable, so, and you cannot really do much else with it. Okay, let's just go knight e2, d3, castle, f4. That's quite a simple plan. Yeah, knight d2, knight c4. Yeah, c4. Also a very good square for a knight. Knight develops. Okay, just d3. Defend the pawn. Maybe d5, but still, okay, there is that hanging pawn. There is that hanging pawn. Maybe I can go knight c3 to prevent d5 further. But I'm not even sure that there's that big of a deal. Yeah, but okay. Okay, I'll go knight c3. Then castle f4. Yeah, g3 going for fianchetto there. And okay, I'll just go f4. Should be just fine. Yeah, like I would probably enjoy the knight on d3 a bit more. I would have bigger flexibility. Could go to c4 or f3. The knight on c3 can go to d5, but it also is kind of in a way of the bishop, which is unprotected. And now with the bishop on g7, like it could get pinned, even though you have knight a4, you can defend the bishop, but still. And now big question. Where to castle? Probably short. Like, yeah, you probably should castle short, but you see these two pawns going, so you maybe go there, but yeah, you are scared. But also to castle long, I'm probably not gonna roll my pawns that fast. But at the same time, okay, there it is, long castles. Decision has been made. Well, well, well. Okay, I'll go knight d5 now. I think it's good against the queenside castle. If knight takes, I just take with the pawn. That's fine, the pawn will control quite a lot of squares. Knight e7. I don't really know where else would the knight go. Yeah. So now c4 makes quite some sense, right? Like this is a bit more forcing. Oh no, okay. Let's go c4. Maybe f6 can be played now. And it's not the pawn transformation that I wanted. Maybe. We'll see. I'll try to get b4 in or d4. One of these two moves to attack c5. Because that is blocking my path to the black king currently. Yeah, like f6 option, f5 option maybe, because h5 option. Like black wants to go for my king. Definitely. Opposite side castling. What else would you expect? Yeah, okay, so knight f5. Going for d4 square. And also a fork on e3. Small threat. Queen d2 should defend against that. Also support that b4 push. And maybe queen a5. To go after b7, you can always go king b8. So not that big of a deal, but still. Yeah, I think that my position is pretty fine here. I definitely got chances. And I'm ahead on the clock quite a lot. Nice thing compared to the last game where I was down 5 minutes or maybe even more when I lost. Like, you think so much more and then you lose. So bad. Okay. So I should probably do this. And then take with... Okay, where do I want my knight to go? E4, maybe C3, B5. Let's take with the rook, surprisingly. I don't know if it's the best option, but practically speaking, in my plans that I'm having in my mind, it feels like the way to go, because I want the queen there to support b4 push. I also want the knight on e2 better than on f4. Although now, very juicy square on e6. Also, knight f5 impossible, and I can go pawn d4. It is even better here. So let's go for it, definitely. Definitely pawn to d4 is what you want to play. If pawn takes, I'll get an amazing knight there. I'll get rid of my double d pawn. It is probably better to let me take on c5. But if you do so, then I'll get a pass d pawn on d5. Also b4 possible, you know, like I can still go b4. Just because I went d4 doesn't mean that b4 is not an option. Yeah, queen a5. I like what has happened in the past 5 moves, say. Knight h5 hits my rook. I could go to f3, but I feel like it should be just more solid to go all the way back to f1. Okay. So yeah, this maneuver with the knight is gonna get it to e4. But I'll also get my knight on e6, very likely. So okay, I'll take. I'll take. And then and then what? Then what? Because there is g5. G5 is really annoying. There is quite a problem. So um okay, let's go queen a5 and let's see what black plays. I'm hitting 2 pawns, so yeah, b6 logical. And now this check. And okay, so we do trade queens. I saw this line and I was deciding whether to go for this or not. Perhaps better to keep the queens on with queen e3a, but I don't know. I got a passed pawn, so I should be better. At least a little bit. That's what I thought. That was my thought process. But I mean, the knight on e4 also really strong. Like we both have a very strong knights, so it won't be easy to deal with that. Can I? Yes, I can. You have to watch out for a lot of forks around here. A4, yeah, okay. Let's go A4, maybe A5. But it is quite likely that black will go A5 himself now. So in that case, the base of the pawn chain is B3 that I would have to keep an eye on. Okay, let's go rook E1. Because there is a tactic that I'm thinking about. There's to go A5. After capturing, you could take on E4 and then take on C5. Or, you know, not capturing or just B5. And you could also go for that tactic. So A5 move pretty much in the air. Right now, maybe rook E7 is a good move. Okay, the other rook goes there. Never mind. So can you still play that? I believe so. I believe you can. And if you go there, I just have rook d3. And everything's pretty good. Okay, let's go a5. Even if, you know, so yeah, okay. b5 is here. But now I believe I have that tactic. And I believe that it is good to go for it, or is it? Yeah, okay, let's play it. Isn't there better now, though? Because I could take, and I would have a bunch of pawns. But no, okay, let's do this. And then... Oh. This seems really good. I am actually a bit concerned about one thing. Yeah, I do not have to rush with c5. Even if we trade, should be good. Yeah, here, king c5, rook d4. I'm gonna win another pawn. And that will be 2 pawns up. Should be the decisive advantage. Not to mention that my opponent is down to 40 seconds right now. But yeah, just dropping another pawn. Okay, let's say I'll go to f4. Let's attack pawn on h7 now. Now I can push this pawn, I believe. And now, okay, I'll take the pawn on g6. Or maybe I won't. We'll have to yet to see about that. Okay, h4 I can push, definitely. And then this. Okay. Like, I just absolutely have to be faster here. Yeah, there is absolutely no way that I'm not faster. Like, yeah. I queen. And that's it, basically. Could have also... Oh, wow. That would have been a fancy move, but... It doesn't really matter too much. I can even queen now and checkmate. That would be fancy here because, you know, simply your queen with a check, with a double check. But anyway, it did not matter too much. And okay, so yeah, nice win to wrap things up here. All in all, once again, a very nice day, gained about 11 rating points, so I'm very